Hello everyone, this is R.S. Miller at the endtimenews.org, and today is May 1st, 2012. The U.S. has deployed a contingent of F-22 stealth fighters at an Allied base in the United Arab Emirates just 200 miles from Iran in an aggressive move which could further worsen relations between the West and the Islamic Republic. This deployment provides the U.S. with a prime position from which they could launch an attack on Iran should the need arise. The airbase at Dhafra, on the outskirts of Abu Dhabi, is just minutes away from the coast of Iran and provides easy access to the Strait of Hormuz. The waterway is the world's most important oil shipping lane, and Iranian officials have threatened to shut it down if the U.S. did not ease off sanctions and military pressure. According to the Jerusalem News 1, the F-22 Raptor is the most sophisticated fighter jet in the U.S. military, costing $150 million apiece. Now here's an interesting video clip of the F-22 Raptor reported by ATC's Lindsay Sargent.
The F-22 Raptor's air-to-air and air-to-ground capabilities give the Air Force a warfighting edge. Its combination of sensors, integrated avionics, situational awareness, and weaponry provides a first-kill opportunity against air and ground threats. This technological innovation is unlike any other.
In the F-15, I had a radar that was sweeping back and forth, and it was telling me, hey, there's, an airplane flying over here. And then I could look at what we called our radar warning receiver, and it would say, hey, there's somebody looking back at you from over here. But it would never put the two together.
Unlike the F-15, the Raptor automatically manages the sensors and shows a combined picture of all active aircraft on something similar to a computer video game display.
You can tell at a glance who's the highest threat, and then with just a couple moves of the controls that are on the throttle and stick, I can target pretty much as many of them as I need to, and then the airplane will use those same sensors to guide weapons to them.
These weapons include radar-guided and heat-seeking infrared missiles, as well as sensors and satellite-guided bombs. By simply entering target coordinates, onboard avionics can send out weapons and precisely hit targets. The F-22's air-to-air and air-to-ground capabilities give joint warfighters the edge they need to dominate the global war on terror. For ACC News, I'm Staff Sergeant Lindsay Sargent, Langley Air Force Base, Virginia.
Middle East tensions continue to rise in spite of a glimmer of hope in the upcoming six-power talks with Iran. Dhafra reports Iranian naval exercise follows on Israel's northern border drill. Defense Minister Ehud Barak offered the view this week that the next round of six-power talks with Iran taking place on May 23rd in Baghdad would lead nowhere, throwing cold water on the current optimism. As for U.S. media reports of a lessening in war tensions over Iran because of the internal debate in Israel over an independent attack, they were soon overtaken by significant military steps embarked on Tuesday, May 1st, by the U.S., Israel, and Iran. The large-scale Israeli Defense Force war game on the borders of Syria and Lebanon was quickly followed by naval drills along Iran's southern Persian Gulf coast by its border guard. Tehran was making good on the policy agreed with Syrian and Hezbollah allies in early 2011 to counter any Western or Israeli military movement in the region with a comparable response. There's more to the story, but I'll let you guys go ahead and read the rest of that for yourself. This should kind of show that regardless of what the mainstream media states on the major news networks, there is definitely trouble in the Middle East. The Bible tells us some of the events to watch for, which will be signs or evidence, if you will, of the last days. Zechariah's prophecy was written somewhere around 2,500 years ago and is now coming to fruition. Zechariah 12:1-3 reads, "The burden of the word of the Lord against Israel. Thus says the Lord, who stretches out the heavens, lays the foundation of the earth, and forms the spirit of man from within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of drunkenness to all the surrounding peoples, when they lay siege against Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall happen in that day that I will make Jerusalem a very heavy stone for all peoples. All who would heave it away will surely be cut into pieces, though all nations of the earth be gathered against it. What Zechariah is saying is that Jerusalem in the last days will become a real political problem, not only for Israel and folks in the Middle East, but for the entire world that tries to bring peace to the region. Another prophecy about to be fulfilled in the very near future is Isaiah's burden of Damascus. This one will not be pretty and will likely involve the use of nuclear weapons or other weapons of mass destruction. Even if the WMD's exchange is contained to within the Middle East region, still millions will die. The prophecy describes the destruction of Damascus and its surrounding area in Syria. By the way, it has been reported that Syria has biological and chemical weapons. The news reports coming out of Syria almost daily are a stark reminder that we are living in dangerous times. The possibility of the collapse of Assad's government could place WMDs in the hands of terrorists. If this happens, then the likelihood that they will use them against Israel increases exponentially. Is there any doubt that Israel would strike back, and on a massive scale? Isaiah 17 verses 1 through 3. The burden against Damascus. Behold, Damascus will cease from being a city, and it will be a ruinous heap. The cities of Aroer are forsaken. They will be for flocks, which lie down, and no one will make them afraid. The fortress also will cease from Ephraim, the kingdom from Damascus, and the remnant of Syria. The Bible tells us that the burden of Damascus is going to be the destruction of the city and several of the surrounding cities. It also tells us that it's going to be a ruinous heap, which means basically that it's not going to just be like an incident where someone drops a conventional bomb, does a lot of damage, kills some people, and then a couple of years later they're able to rebuild. That's not going to be the case here. What's likely to happen is either the terrorists are going to attack Israel, or perhaps Assad himself will attack Israel. There will be some death and destruction, possibly biological or chemical weapons used on the Syrian part. And in retaliation, Israel is going to strike back with nuclear weapons. That's the most logical conclusion. If you look at Israel's history, if you kill too many of their people, they will retaliate in a massive way. And I can't blame them for that. You cannot sit there and throw rocks at someone's home and expect them not to come out and do something about it. But in any case, the Middle East is going to be the real hot spot in the very near future, even more so than what it has been in the past. And we really need to keep our eyes on it. Friends, if it were not for God the Father and Jesus Christ his Son, then there would truly be no hope at all. But we do have hope. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. We are in the last days. Are you saved? Follow the link below, pray the prayer with all sincerity, and you will be saved. God bless you all.